if you look at your handy dandy outline, you see that this first unit test is one big chapter 1 and chapter 2. So therefore, we're going to go over algebraic. That's just continuation of linear equations. Fitting lines. I'll just write this down. You can't see it. So 2.1 is more linear equations. 2.2 is all calculator / Excel. 2.3 is solving systems of equations, which means by graphing, substitution, and elimination. And if you've had Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 before, you know what I'm talking about there. And 2.4 is inequalities. Okay, so that's what it looks like. The reason I write this down is if you look at on your outline, half of you probably wouldn't be able to discern what the hell any of that means, except for 2.3 and 2.4, because they have to Columbianize all their words on these outlines and syllabi. So when they send them to Columbia, the people down in Columbia can understand with those big words. So that's why they take out all the little words and put big words in the syllabus. So with that being said,
second choice.
we're going to say again.
That's why Columbia has the University of Second Choice.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say anything about USC because that is South Carolina. I love South Carolina, and I love Clemson. My favorite team is Georgia, but they blow it every year, so I'm not going to say anything. You know, I have a problem with taking a nice syllabus and making it to where the students can't understand it because you've got to send it to Columbia, where all the bureaucrats are. So anyway, to make a long story short, 2.1, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on 2.1 because y'all should know how to solve a linear equation, but I'm going to go through a couple of steps, because y'all not going to tell me what you know and what you don't know, and you're not going to send me any questions. So I'm just going to have to keep doing what I'm doing and just kind of hit and miss here until somebody finally says something. So with solving an equation, you've got one-step equations. You've got multi-step equations. And with multi-step equations, you got combining like terms, distributive law, and clearing. Okay, you've also got direct variation and inverse variation. Direct and inverse variation. And you've also got the last thing that I always leave, formulas. And this pretty much takes up everything with linear equations. Okay? So I'm going to let you write that down and we'll move on. Like I say, it's going to be kind of like skipping a rock on top of the lake. It's going to be hit and miss until either one, y'all start asking questions, or two, you start sending me questions, one of the two. So with that being said, let's just go with a multi-step equation, because I think most of y'all have had pre-algebra. I think y'all can handle the one-step equations. 2x is equal to 4. X over 3 is equal to 7. X minus 2 is equal to 12. I think y'all can handle those one-step equations. But let's just kind of review over the multi-step equations, because I know there's probably a couple that some of y'all will screw up. Okay, so let's move on. Here's one that most of you will be able to do. 2x plus 3 times x minus 2 is equal to 4 times x minus 1. Okay, so do that problem. And again, this is a review, so most of you should be able to knock that out without any problem. Give you about a minute. I forgot to put my timer on. Class is over at what, 11:15? Oh, I thought this was a 2-hour class. So we're only missing 15 minutes. What time's class over?
11:40.
Oh, 11:40. That's right. So we're missing 40 minutes class. Get y'all mixed up with my calculus class. My calculus class meets Monday through Thursday, and that's why I'm getting y'all mixed up.
I wish this class lasted for 11:15.
Oh, see, that really hurts. You know, that hurts my pride. Now I'm going to have to put smokestacks on my pickup truck because I don't feel confident in myself. So.
I got 2 for this one.
Or I'll have to wear sunglasses indoors. So I don't know what to put my, let's say, 11:40. Right now it's 10:14, so 11:14 is an hour. I'm gonna put it on an hour and 15 minutes. That'll get me close to time. An hour and 15 minutes will put me right at what? 11:30? That'd be close enough for government work. All right, so here we go. First of all, you got to distribute. And when you distribute, what always comes after you distribute? Anybody know? What always comes after distributive law?
Multiplication.
Combining like what?
Combining like terms, yeah.
Combining like terms. And 2 plus 3 is 5x minus 6 is equal to 4x minus 4. Take the 4x, cross the river. X minus 6 is equal to negative 4. Take the negative 6, cross the river. And x is equal to 2. Plug that x equal to 2 back in, check it and see if it's right. Okay, now that's a multi-step equation. And most of you are okay with that, probably. I would say there's how many people in here right now? There's 19 people in here right now. And if I gave you this problem, probably 18 of you would get it right. Am I confident? And is that telling me that y'all are smart? No. It's telling me that y'all had it before. Now, let me give you something that y'all will screw up, because I want to kick you while you're down. 1/2 times x minus 3 plus 3/4 is equal to 1/3 times x minus 5. And what will most of y'all do on this one when you come to it on a test? Go ahead, be truthful. What will you do?
Skip it.
You'll skip it and come back to it again, because y'all can't, 12 years of school and you can't read a ruler and you can't do fractions, because you were taught and programmed to use your calculator whenever you had a fraction. Well, I'm not going to tell you that. We're going to clear the fraction by multiplying through by the common denominator. 2, 4, 3, 1, or 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and sometimes 13. I'm going to divide by 2. That's going to give me a 1, a 2, a 3. I'm going to divide by 2, a 1, a 1, a 3. I'm going to divide by 3, a 1, 1, and 1. So 12 is my common denominator. And I bet you $1 there's 2 or 3 people in the classroom that have no freaking idea what I just did, because you were programmed to do it with a calculator. So since the common denominator is 12, I'm going to multiply through by 12 over 1. Now I'm going to put a baby step in here for some of y'all that need it. And you don't have to be proudful, because I know there's people in here that need it. So I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to do it with a blue pen because I don't like red. That focus stuff. Is that focus out a little bit? Somebody help me out.
No, it looks fine.
Do you think it is? Let me check. Looks like that's a little bit better. All right, so 12 over 1, 12 over 1, 12 over 1. One half times x minus 3 plus 3/4 is equal to 1/3 times x minus 5. And what happens to the fractions and the 12s? What happened to what happens? I want somebody to say something. That's called communication. I give you a cue, I stop talking, and you go.
You're distributing them.
I'm what?
You're going to distribute them.
What happens to the 12 and the 1/2? What happens to it?
It turns into a whole number.
It cancels. Yes, thank you. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 12 will cancel with this 4 3 times. That's a 9. 12 will cancel. That's a 4. And I guarantee you there's somebody out there going, I had no idea you could do that, because you didn't get your money's worth in K through 12. Now distribute the 6, and we get 6x minus 18 plus 9 is equal to 4x minus 20. And 6x plus 9, or I'm sorry, minus 9 is equal to 4x minus 20. Take 4x, cross the river. Take the 9 across the river. What is that? Negative 11. Yes, Hubert. Thank you, class. And x is equal to negative 11/2. If y'all check my math, please.
That's right.
And if you did that on a calculator, then you were one of those people that were programmed to do it on a calculator. And don't tell me it ain't happening, because it happened to me. Because when I graduated high school, I couldn't even add fractions, much less do a problem like this. All right, so that's one. If I gave 19 people in the class, if I gave you this question, about 8 of you would probably get it right. If I did my math right. Did y'all check it? Did y'all get 11/2, negative 11/2?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, here's the other one that y'all will probably cringe at. 0.1 times x minus 6. Let's make that a negative. Give you a double whammy. Plus 7 is equal to 0.5 times x minus 3 plus 1. All right, do that one. And if you can't do this one, that pretty much means you need to drop the class and probably just give up. Reckon? For anybody that's starting today, you need to have a sense of humor to be in my class, okay? We're anti-snowflake, anti-buttercup in here. You got to let out a smile every once in a while, even though some of y'all try to hide it. You know what I think Miss Garcia does? I think she cages up that dog during class. Poor dog. Don't you? Don't you cage that dog up, Miss Garcia?
Definitely not, but he is not here today. He's actually at the vet getting neutered, so.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah.
See.
Balls cut off.
Yeah.
I can't say anything. I do that to my bulls, so I can't say anything. All right, what are we going to do? Well, you look and see which place value is taken up. The 10th and the 10th. So I'm going to multiply through by what?
Negative 0.1.
10, Hubert. That's right, class. I'm going to multiply through by 10. Like I said, I guarantee you there's somebody out there that's never seen this before. And that's going to move that.
I responded, but I forgot to unmute.
That's all right. I appreciate you making the attempt to communicate. And move this one place. And move this one place. And move this one place. So we've got negative 1 times x minus 6 plus 70 equals 5 times x minus 3 plus 10. And I guarantee you there's somebody in here that never knew you could change this equation into whole numbers. After 12 years of school, I guarantee it. It's sad, but it's true. Negative x plus 6 plus 70 is equal to 5x minus 15 plus 10. Combine like terms, negative x plus 76 equals 5x minus 15 plus 10 is minus 5. Now I want to stop right here. There is a cardinal rule of algebra about the variable. Does anybody know the cardinal rule about algebra and the variable? Probably not, because some of you had terrible math teachers. Anybody? Anybody want to give me the what?
I do not.
Okay, good. That's good. I'll fill out your drop slip after class.
Okay.
How about always try to keep the variable what?
Positive.
I'm sorry, what?
Positive.
Good job. Who was that? Somebody don't speak all the time. Was that Mr. Moselle? Moselle? Thank you for communicating.
Mozzarella.
All right, so always, this is a cardinal rule, always try to keep the variable positive. Now I'm going to tell y'all a little story right here. Let's say it's 10 years down the road and you got two kids named Jody and Susie. Okay? And we're going to take a break from the problem here just a minute. And let's say you live in Anderson and you go to the park and there is a seesaw. Now, if you're not from around here, it's called a seesaw. I mean, if you're from around here, it's a seesaw. If you're not from around here, it's called a teeter-totter. Okay? But we're going to call it a seesaw. And Jody is your son, and you put Jody right here. And you put Susie right here. Everybody with me? And you're standing here looking at your kids. Everybody with me? So
Yeah.
Jody is on the left, and Susie is on the what? Right. Everybody feel good about what I just said?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to brag a little bit. My daughter, who just graduated from Clemson, just got her a job at Robert Anderson Middle School in Anderson. So I'm very proud parent today.
Oh, what grade does she teach?
She's going to be teaching 7th grade. That's where she went to
Awesome.
school. She's going to be teaching
Awesome.
7th grade geography/social studies.
Very cool. My girlfriend's a teacher. She lives in Anderson.
Oh, what school does she teach?
Whitehall, the title.
Oh, that's interesting. I've got
Yeah.
a good friend of mine. A good friend of mine that I grew up with teaches there. All right.
Wizard.
So you pick up from Anderson, and you got to go visit your kinfolk in Clemson. And you go to the backyard of your kinfolk, and they have a seesaw. And Jody wants to get on the right-hand side, and Susie wants to get on the left-hand side, and you tell them, no, you can't do that. Why is that? Why can't Jody get on the right side and Susie get on the left side?
It's not distributed correctly.
No, it's seesaw. Is there somebody out there saying that makes no sense whatsoever? Jody and Susie can sit on either side of the seesaw. Why am I telling you this story? Because there are some teachers that have taught you that you have to put the variable on the left side of the equal sign. That's just like telling your son that whatever park you go to, you have to be on the left side of the seesaw. How much sense does that make?
None.
Makes no sense. All right? So, when I tell you to keep the variable positive, I'm going to tell you to move the smallest bucket. Move the smallest bucket. If I asked you to work on a farm with me and I told you to feed the cows or feed the horses, and you have the choice between picking a 2.5 gallon bucket or a 10-gallon bucket, most of you would pick the 2.5 gallon bucket. You would pick the smallest bucket. Have you ever picked up a 10-gallon bucket full of sweet feed? It's very hard to maneuver, okay? It's comes up to your hip, just about. So
Yeah.
you always pick the smallest bucket. Which one's the smallest bucket? Negative 1x or positive 5x? Which one's the smallest bucket?
Negative.
So you're going to move the negative x across the river. And when you move the negative x across the river, you get 6x minus 5 is equal to 76. Take the 5 across the river. 81 is equal to 6x. And x is equal to 81 over 6. Now, there's somebody in this room right now that's going into convulsions because that 6x is on the right-hand side. Then you're going to have a convulsion when your son gets on the right-hand side of the seesaw. And you've been programmed by a teacher that didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Like most math teachers.
Well, I don't know about most math teachers, but telling you that you have to put the variable on the left-hand side is conditioning you to fail whenever you get to a teacher that tells you to keep the variable what? Positive. Now, a lot of you are saying, well, it don't matter, because some of y'all look like y'all really don't want to be here. But The reason it matters is when we get to inequalities. And inequalities, if you keep the variable positive, you don't have to worry about flipping the inequality. Now, you're not going to be able to do it all the time, but 90% of the time, you can keep the variable positive, for those of you that are actually listening. Okay? So let's do one more. 1/2 times x minus 2, or 3, plus 0.6 is equal to 4x minus 0.2 times x minus 6. Now this one has a fraction and it has a decimal in it. Place value 10. Place value 10th. Sorry. So I'm going to multiply by 10, which also is divisible by 2. So I'm going to multiply the whole thing by 10. And that gives me 5. I'm going to color it blue so you'll know that something changed. 5, 10, that'd be 6. 10 be 40. And 2. Y'all check me, make sure I didn't leave out anything. Please check me.
Everything
That
was
moves 1 to the left, that moves 1 to the right, that moves 1 to the right, add a 0. I think I did everything okay. And now you basically got a pre-algebra, algebra 1 problem. Let me ask you a question. And you can show me by virtual hand. You know the virtual hand is up here. I have to keep showing y'all because some of y'all just, there's the virtual hand right there. Right there. I want somebody to show me if you had known about clearing the fraction a little bit more, it would have made a difference to you in high school and your first couple of years in college. Anybody? Be truthful and leave them up so I can see. I want to scroll down and see how many. But you weren't. You were programmed to do it with a calculator. I bet you $1 to a donut hole that you were told to do it with a calculator, or you were told, I've even had my son tell me this, to not do those problems on the homework. Okay, you can take them down now. 17 out of 19. That tells me a whole lot. Told you didn't get your money's worth. Okay, take your virtual hands down now so we put everybody in alphabetical order. All right, so now 5x minus 15 plus 6 is equal to 40x minus 2x plus 12. Negative 15 plus 6, I have no idea. What is it? Negative 9, 5x minus 9 is equal to 38x plus 12. Which one's the smallest bucket, 5x or 38x?
5x.
I'm going to take it across the river. So negative 9 is equal to 33x plus 12. Negative 12. That's going to be, I have no idea, negative 21 is equal to 33x. Divide by 33. And that's going to give us negative 7 over 11. Somebody check me. Yes, no, maybe.
That's right.
Thank you. Now, that's how you solve linear equations. Hopefully, I'll knock some cobwebs loose. Let's talk about formulas. There's two types of formula problems. There is the formula that you plug and chug. And then there's the formula that you solve. All right? Plug and chug is pretty simple. Y'all know how to do that. You just plug the numbers in, do the math. Area of a rectangle is equal to length times width, or base times height. L is equal to 5. W, unless you're from around here, it's W, is equal to 2. Therefore, the area of the rectangle is equal to 5 times 2, which is equal to 10 square units. Okay, now half of you don't even have to write that down because you're used to doing these, okay, because they usually are pretty simple. So plug and chug is usually pretty simple. With solving, there's only one thing I want to tell you before I go into solving, and that's a red question, that's a red pen, meaning highlight. Before you even start, clear any fractions or decimals before you even start. Okay? Before you start, you always clear any fractions or decimals. So let's do the area of a triangle. The area of a triangle is equal to 1/2 base times the height. And they want you to solve for h. Okay? Before I even start, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And that'll give me an A equals 1/2 base times the height. And of course, 2A is equal to base times the height because that cancels. And divide by B, and H is equal to 2A over B. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these two because I know that students in the past, those last 3 problems that we did with the fractions and the decimals and the fractions and decimals, that I will spend more time on that than I will spend on this because most of y'all at least can do the left-hand side and some of y'all can do the right-hand side to a point. But if you clear the fractions or you clear the decimals, it makes it a whole lot easier. Why is everybody's camera pointed at the ceiling? I got 3 people, the cameras are pointing to the ceiling. Okay. I guess they're proud of their ceiling. Now, what about direct and inverse and joint variation? Direct, inverse, and joint variation. Well, there's 3 formulas. Y is equal to K times X. That's direct. Inverse, Y is equal to K over X. That's inverse. And then Y is equal to KX. And then another variable, I'll just use W. You have to say it right. Clem's on. I'm not going to say LOG or DOG, and I'm not going to say FOIL or OIL because I don't say them correctly. Clemson. Now, when you're doing
Or when you
direct,
say
yeah, that's the
Clemson,
ESPN. You know why ESPN says Clemson? Because if they say Clemson, then they're a dumb Southern racist. Or dumb racist Southerner. So you can't say Clemson. You got to say Clemson.
or the people that put a P in it.
That's those dumb racist Southerners that do that, like me. All right. Now, go ahead and put a note here. And the note is K never changes. K never changes. Whenever you're dealing with a direct, inverse, and joint variation, K never changes because they're going to ask you to change Y and X. They're going to ask you to change Y, X, and W, but you do not change K. And there's three types of problems with these. One is plug and chug. Two is plug and chug, and then put K back in. And then three is 1 and 2, and then they give you more info. Okay? So, what's the problem? Well, I'm not going to make up a problem with direct variation, so I'm going to see if I can find one in your homework so we can go over it. So let's go to your homework. And I think this is 2.1, I believe. Let me look again. I don't know what I did with, yeah, there it is. I believe it's 2.1. Let me see if I can find one. Watch there not be a single one in the dadgum problems. Ooh, there's a good test question. These are all good test questions that I see. Probably be toward the end of the, there's formulas. Well, I guess we don't have any. I'll just make up one. I don't like making them up because they usually don't come out too good, but I'll make up one. They'll give you something like R varies directly as S. And R is equal to 4 and S is equal to 7. What is R when S is equal to 12? So there is, remember I said you can have all three? This one has all three. Okay, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So the first thing you do, it says directly. That directly and I don't know how many of you have had this before, but if you had, algebra 2, directly means this guy right here. So I'm going to copy y is equal to k over x. And instead of, writing y, which way do we read?
Left to right.
Left to right. So y is going to change into r, and x is going to change into s. Because we read from left to right. Y comes first, r comes first. X comes first, s comes first, second. S comes second. So you're going to interchange, and you're going to make your equation r is equal to k times s. And remember, k never changes. So I'm going to highlight k right here because k never changes. And now I'm going to plug and chug. 4 is equal to k times 7. Now I want you to look at that. What's the only thing I can do right here? Given 4 and 7, what's the only thing I can do?
4 and 7.
Solve for what?
Okay.
Okay.
Solve for k. And now that I've solved for k, what am I going to do with k after I've solved for it? Plug it back what?
Into the equation.
Plug it back into the equation, and I get r is equal to 4/7 times k, or s, sorry, s. 4/7 s, and now I plug in 12, and I get r is equal to 4/7 times 12 over 1, and that's going to give me 48/7. Well, then you change it according to whatever the directions say. Mixed number, decimal, mixed, whatever, I don't care. Okay, so here we plugged and chugged. We solved for k. We plug k back in. We get a new formula. R is equal to 4/7 s. And then plug in s is equal to 12. And that is how you do these problems here. Now, again, I'm not going over each one. I'm hitting and missing. Again, I don't know what you know and what you don't know. That's why questions are so important on the homework. Question, gripe, complaint about those.
Negative.
Now, I just covered 2.1. And I've got a little bit more time, so we're going to move on to 2.2. Now, the good news is 2.2, you don't have to do anything by hand. 2.2, you do everything by the calculator. So I'm going to give you an example. X, Y. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 2, 8, 4, 2, 5. Okay, I want you to graph those points on your calculator. Or if you want to use your Excel spreadsheet, I will show you both. I want you to form what's called a scatter plot. Now, I know y'all did these in high school. How do I know that, Hubert? Because a long time ago, they watered down the programs by putting probability and statistics in high school math. And I know dang well they showed you how to do this because it's on a standardized test, and they like for you to make money on those standardized tests. I'm sorry. The school makes money off your grades of the standardized test. But y'all didn't know that, did you? Y'all settle down, please.
We're gonna have to confine you if you can't settle down.
Say again?
We're gonna have to confine you if you can't settle down.
I know. I'm fixing to throw Miss Garcia out. She just keeps back talking me.
Oh, it's the worst.
Miss Garcia, do you talk this much, outside of class?
Yeah, all the time.
Miss Taylor, I believe she fell back asleep. Oh, no, she's awake. I'm trying to pick on people to make, kind of keep things lively. Because y'all just doing everything y'all can to, keep this class dead. So I appreciate it. Y'all do this in your other classes? Just kind of keep it, dead as hell, or what?
They don't even have video calls, really.
You are kidding me.
Yeah, I
We
don't
just
have
do our
my other
homework.
classes.
Yeah, this is my only class that I have to video call for.
Yeah, we just
Well,
teach
what do the
ourselves
other
to do
classes do?
jack shit.
That's the word.
It's all online, and there's barely any deadlines, and I hate it.
Yeah, it's like work at
So
your own pace.
here I am thinking Tri-County actually changed for COVID, and
No.
they didn't really change at all.
No,
They just stuck
it's
to
pretty
online.
bad. It's like glorified high school.
Well, I'm sorry. I can do that if y'all want to. You want me to put y'all on an online program?
Preferably not.
Okay. I guarantee you there's one or two out there that are going, I wish I was on an online program. Well, it's still drop ad. You're welcome to drop if you want to. All right, I'm going to go to my handy dandy calculator, and I'm going to put in these numbers. Then I'm going to do it on an Excel spreadsheet. So that way you can do whatever you want. So hit stat.
There's an online TI-83 or TI-84.
Yeah, I do this. This is for instructional purposes. I had the college buy this for me so I could do it on virtual classrooms.
That's interesting.
See, I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years. This ain't something I just did because of COVID. I've been teaching virtual classes for about 3 or 4 years. All right, so edit. Type in your numbers. I'm going to do that right now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then jump over to the second column. 3, 2, 8, 4, 2, and 5.
That's the other thing about most math teachers, is they never teach you how to use the actual calculator.
Well, listen, have you ever tried to take off a nut and a bolt with a pair of pliers?
Yeah, it's impossible.
You can't do it. If it's a good bolt, and you can't do it. I mean, you might be able to do it, but the best thing to use is the tools.
Impact
the
gun.
tools that you're given. A calculator is a tool. You don't put in a nail with a screwdriver, and you don't use the calculator for every single operation in mathematics. Okay, I'll shut up. Get me started. All right, so now I'm going to plot it. So I go to second stat plot, which is y is equal. Turn it on, hit enter, hit enter on. It's already defaulted to scatter plot, and it already reads the first and the second column. So all you have to hit now is graph. You may not see it. So you hit zoom, statistic, 9. There's your scatter plot. Now, the only reason you need a scatter plot is so you can match it up with the one on the test or the homework. But now is where you got to find your linear regression line. Now, how do you do that, Hubert? Well, you hit stat, calculate linear regression. Hit enter, and it's already done for L1 and L2. That's defaulted. And go down and hit calculate. There is your equation for your best fit line. I'm going to write this on the page right here. Y is equal to 0.0121703.854 x plus 5.027045301. Now I'm writing it all out, and R, that's your correlation coefficient, is equal to 0.0085854.688. Now somebody with a little bit of statistics background, tell me, is there a correlation here? Yes or no? Anybody? I'm going to take my handy dandy pink highlighter and I'm going to highlight. There is no correlation. So that means that this line is just about going to be a horizontal line because there's no correlation. 0 means there's no correlation. Correlation goes from -1 to +1. Now, why am I telling you that? Because that is a standardized test question. And if you ever go into nursing or go into something that you need to take a standardized test, R is between -1 and +1. 0 means there ain't none. So let's graph this on our handy dandy scatter plot, and let's see if it's a horizontal line. So I'm going to take my handy dandy calculator and hit y is equal, and I'm just going to take it to the 5th decimal point, 0.01217, 0.01217x plus 5.0270, 0270, and graph. And it's just about a horizontal line. Now, what should you be able to do with this problem? Okay, I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to take a green pen and I'm going to show you what you should be able to do. And I'm going to give you 2 or 3 of these on the test. 1, you should be able to graph the scatter plot. 2, you should be able to find y is equal to mx plus b. And 3, you should be able to graph this is called the line of best fit, which is what I just did right there. So you should be able to do those 3 things. Now, if you use the Excel spreadsheet, it will do it for you. So I'm going to show you how to use the Excel spreadsheet so you can feel good about yourself. Who's leaving? Who left? Is we over time or what? I don't think we are. Well, somebody left. Oh, well, I guess I offended somebody. There's nothing unusual. What?
Good.
Excel. There's the Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to type in my numbers. Make it big where y'all can see it, because I know I got a diva in the room somewhere. So let me fix it for the diva, whoever it is.
Oh my God, it's not big enough.
I guarantee you we got a diva in here. I can't see, I can't see. There we go. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 2, 4, 8, 2, 3. Highlight the two columns. Go to Insert. Click on the scatter plot arrow, pull down menu, and there's your scatter plot. Ding! There we go. It's a whole lot easier on the Excel spreadsheet. Why do I want you to use the Excel spreadsheet? What are you going to use in the real world? The Excel spreadsheet. Now, how do you find the line of best fit? Right click on one of the dots, doesn't matter which one. Go to Add Trend Line. Go down and hit Display and Display. And there is your equation for your line. Don't y'all feel smart?
Yes, indeed.
Now, why is mine off a little bit? Wait a minute. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 2, 8, 4. That's unusual. Let me do that again. Something's wrong. Did anybody get, what did y'all get on y'all's calculator? Did y'all get 0.012? Why have I got 0.714? That's not right. I'll have to check that out.
When
But
I did
that's
it
how
on
you
my
do it.
calculator, that's what I got, the 0.171 and the 3.22.
Thank you. Who said that?
Katie Taylor.
Thank you, Miss Taylor. Let me go back to my calculator and see if I punched something in wrong. Stat. Edit. 328, 328, 425, 234, 567. Let me check it again. Stat. Calculate. Linear regression. L1. Okay, that L2 is not supposed to be there. Let me take that out. There we go. Maybe that's why. There we go. My apologies. I had something typed in that other. That's why it was off. So there it is. And that's why it's also good to check on the Excel spreadsheet to make sure you don't have something wrong with your calculator. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When I do it on mine, it doesn't show the R squared and the R. How do
Okay.
I get that?
Go to, and this is for everybody, go to second, 0, and go down till you get to the D's. Look for diagnostic off and diagnostic on. Hit diagnostic, well, if I could ever get there. Hit diagnostic on, enter, and enter. Now try it and see what you get. Try it and let me know if you got it or not. Miss Hill, you making me dizzy.
It
No, I'm just
worked.
kidding. Good. And that's how you find your linear regression, and that's 2.2, or I done lost y'all's handout. I think it's 2.2 or 2.3. I can't remember. Somebody tell me. I can't find your syllabus handout. It's on my, here it is. That is 2.2. Okay, so I've still got time to move into 2.3. 2.3 is solving systems of equations, I think. Yeah. There's 3 ways to solve a system of equations.
But whatever.
I'm getting there. Anybody know the 3 ways to solve systems of equations? One is by graphing. Graphing, where 2 lines intersect. That's what? That's the solution to the 2 equations. So if you are solving a system of equations and the lines intersect, that means you have a solution. What if the 2 lines are parallel?
You would have no solution.
Good job. What if they are perpendicular?
One
Well,
solution.
I'm sorry. That's not right. What if they are the same line? And I'll make a black line and then I'll highlight it yellow. What if you have the same line on top of each other? Infinite solution.
It's making all that noise.
Say again?
It's making all that noise.
I didn't hear what you said. Sounds like you
Someone's
were
making a
annoyed.
bunch of noise. Someone's mic is like unmuted.
Oh, somebody needs to mute your mic. I can't tell whose mic is on, but somebody's got their TV or radio on. All right, so with graphing, and I'm going to put in red, least accurate by hand. If you're going to do the graphing method, make sure you do it with a calculator. Capiche? The graphing method, you don't want to do the graphing method by hand unless the problem is designed to be done by hand. Because sometimes you're going to get a fraction and it's not going to work out right. So, what's the next method? Substitution. Substitution, a lot of people love it. The only thing you have to make sure of, you have to have an isolated variable. You have to either get an isolated variable or you have to have one when you start the problem, one of the 2. So I'm just going to do an example. Y is equal to 2x plus 3. X plus y is equal to 7. And I'm going to take that 2x plus 3 and I'm going to put it in for y. And that's going to give me x plus 2x plus 3 is equal to 7. And 3x plus 3 is equal to 7. 3x is equal to 4. X is equal to 3/4. And now I take that and plug it back in here and get y. And that's how you use the substitution method. Me personally, I like the 3rd method. Elimination. And the main thing about elimination is you've got to have opposite signs and the same coefficient. Okay?
Okay, who's playing Leonard Skinner now?
I'm sorry, what?
Who's playing Leonard Skinner now?
That's my phone.
Oh,
Yep. So don't say anything bad about my ringtone. And I didn't want to mess it up because I need to get the voicemail. They're gonna leave a voicemail. Elimination. Here's a good example. This one will be easy because it's negative 2x plus 3y is equal to 6, and 2x plus 7y is equal to 2. All right, now this one, you already have the opposite signs. Here's the opposite signs. And you have the same coefficients, the equal coefficients. So all you do is add the two together, and this should be knocking some of your cobwebs loose. Those two cancel, they eliminate, and you're left with 10y is equal to 8. Y is equal to 8 over 10, which is 4 over 5, or 0.8. And then you back substitute to get x. Now, everybody in this class should be saying to themselves, oh yeah, I remember doing those three things. Hopefully you do. I want to try to make it to where we can keep Thursday and Friday open for homework questions and the preview test on Friday. That's what I'm going to try to do. That's why I'm trying to get through as much as I can today. All right, I'm trying to knock some of your cobwebs loose, and hopefully y'all will start sending me some questions. If not, then just keep going. All right. Now, I've got 14 minutes, and I want to go into the last section, and that is inequalities. Oh, one more thing here. And I'm going to make a big red cloud down here. Oops. Remember, parallel lines, no solution. Same line, meaning a line on top of a line, is infinite solutions. Always remember this. If 4 is equal to 4, is that a true statement? A true statement means all real numbers. A false statement, 6 is equal to negative 10. That is an untrue statement, which means what? No solution. So you got to remember this kind of stuff when you're dealing with these problems up here. If I get parallel lines here and I do the same problem here, I'm going to get something that says 4 is equal to 120, because the answer is what? No solution, because I had parallel lines. If I did it here or here, I would get something like this. This is called contradiction. This is called identity. If you get a true statement in algebra, it's going to be all real numbers. If you get a false statement, it's going to be no solution. Does everybody understand that? I hope you do. Nobody's going to say anything, so hope y'all realize how hard it is to teach without communication from students. I just want y'all to know that. I know you don't care. That's all right. All right, let's do the last part. Last part, inequalities. And all you got to remember is the following. These two guys get an open circle or parentheses or a dashed line if you're graphing. These two guys get a closed circle or brackets or a real solid line. We're not going to worry about the lines. We're not going to do any graphing of inequalities in here. At least I don't think we are. But this is what you have to remember when you're doing inequalities. Now, there's a couple of rules that you should remember also. Number one, always try to keep the variable positive. Because if you keep the variable positive, you don't have to worry about dividing through by negative and flipping the, and 90% of the time, you can keep, actually 99% of the time, you can keep the variable positive. 99% of the time, you can keep the variable positive. Also, if you see the word integers in your, directions, that means whole numbers. Okay, I keep hearing that background. Please take care of that, or mute your mic, please. Okay, I'll just mute everybody. Because evidently they didn't went back to bed.
All of America right now.
There. All right, they probably went back to bed or went back to sleep, thinking, I don't know, they don't do that. I know you do. Because I can't see everybody, unfortunately. And the last thing, there's one more thing, and I'm trying to remember. When you're doing the whole numbers, you have to use those big dots. And the last thing is, when you're dealing with inequalities, after you get the answer, graph it on a number line, write it in set builder notation, and then write it in interval notation. Those are the 3 or 4 things that you have to remember when you're going into inequalities. Now, I've got about 8 or 9 minutes, and I'm going to stop at 11:30. That way we have anybody that has questions about anything, and I get the attendance so I can take the attendance. All right, so let's do a problem. 2x plus 3 greater than or equal to 4x minus 2. Real simple problem. And I want you to graph it. I want you to give me set builder notation and interval notation. So I'll give you a minute to do that. And if you can't do it, we all know, get you a cardboard box.
Priority 1 message coming in on secured channel.
Well, thank God it's trying to come back up. I need to quit looking at it. Oh, driving me crazy. Which one's the smallest bucket? 2x is the smallest bucket, so I'm going to take it across the river. That gives me 3 is greater than or equal to 2x minus 2. Take that across the river. 5 is greater than 2x. X is less than or equal to 5 halves. So now I draw my number line. This is positive infinity. This is negative infinity.
Priority
0,
1 message coming in on secured channel.
1, negative 1. Where is 5 halves? Well, 5 halves is 2.5. So it's down here, or 2 halves. It's right in here. So the 5 halves is right here. I kind of drew my, there we go. There we go. All right. So I draw my big filled in circle right there. And I want somebody to tell me what numbers are less than 5 halves. Well, less equals left, right? LE, LF. All right, let's get that baby out of here. I tell you what, y'all think babies and dogs, just, I tell y'all what. So I'm going to highlight
Priority 1
everything
message
to the
coming in on
left.
secured channel.
And there is my graph. Now I'm going to write it in set builder notation. Put my braces. Put me an X such that, and then write my answer down. X is less than or equal to 5 halves. That's set builder notation. And then interval notation. Which way do we read?
Left, right.
Left, right.
Okay, somebody tell me. Read the pink shade from left to right. Somebody give it to me. The pink shade from left to right.
Negative infinity to 5 halves,
And that's it.
and then bracket.
Bracket and parentheses. And there's your 3 answers. Graphing, set builder notation, and interval notation. Now I'm going to change one thing on this problem, and I want you, I'm going to give you another problem, but I want you to do the next problem, but I'm going to put the word integers in the directions and show you the difference between the two. So here we go. Find the integer solution set. I still say something like that. I'm going to change the numbers because I want you to get a whole number, preferably. 2x plus 3 greater than or equal to 4x minus 3. I hope that'll work. Try that. The only difference in this problem and the previous problem is this has the word integer, which means whole numbers. So you solve it the same way. Take it across the river. Take the negative 3 across the river. X is less than or equal to 3. Draw your number line. This is positive infinity. This is negative infinity, 0, 3, negative 3. Well, I'm going to put a 2 and a 1, a negative 1, negative 2, negative 4. I'm doing this for a reason. 4, 5. And where is 3? Well, 3 is right here, Hubert. What whole numbers are less than negative 3? What whole numbers are less than 3? Why am I not using a shade? Because the shade contains fractions, decimals, and what? Percents. It didn't ask for fractions, decimals, and percents. It asked for whole numbers. So you have to use those big dots on the graph. Set builder notation, X, or braces, X such that X is less than or equal to 3 with 3 big dots somewhere around that 3. And interval notation, and you can highlight, if you want to highlight something, you can highlight this guy and these dots. And that is from negative infinity to positive 3 and 3 dots on that infinity. That's amazing. Now I was able to get 4 sections. I was able to teach y'all 4 sections in an hour and 30 minutes. Okay, so y'all are ready. You got 2 days left, and those 2 days are going to be filled with homework questions, which I doubt any of you are going to send me, and tests. So if I don't get any homework questions tomorrow, we will do the test tomorrow. But if we get homework questions, we'll do homework questions and then do the test Friday. The test will be assigned Friday, as we said, the first day of class, and then it'll last till Monday. I'll go over all that with the pretest, so you don't have to ask any questions, because I know somebody is fixing to ask a question. You don't need to ask it yet. Wait till we go through the preview first. Okay. Any questions about class today?
No.
Now, I'm not going to go this fast when we do, the first, second unit, and third unit, and fourth unit, because there are some things that you don't know. This is kind of a review section. So I'm doing it a hit and miss because it's a review section. I'm going to shut off the recording now so it can be doing its thing so I can post it, and shut down the recording and shut down